before the Apple Watch. Before smartwatches tracked your steps or buzzed with notifications, there was Swatch. Bright, bold, affordable, fun. In the age of power suits, synth pop, and shoulder pads, Swatch was more than a timepiece. It was a statement piece. You didn't just check the time, you showed off your personality. But here's what made Swatch so fascinating. It saved an entire industry. So how did a plastic watch from Switzerland become a global fashion movement? Let's dive into what made the Swatch watch viral. The year was 1983, and the Swiss watch industry was in trouble. Huge trouble. The 70s and early 80s had brought what's known as the Quartz Crisis. Japan was dominating the market with accurate, affordable digital watches from brands like Casio and Seiko. Traditional Swiss watches, too expensive, too slow to adapt, too serious. The future of Swiss watchmaking looked grim. Enter Swatch, a radical idea born from two Swiss companies merging ASUAG and SSIH. Their goal? Disrupt their own heritage. Instead of building another luxury timepiece, they built the opposite. Mass-produced quartz-powered colorful plastic, cheap but stylish. Fresh. Loud. And they gave it a name that said it all. Swatch, short for second watch. It wasn't meant to replace your Rolex. It was meant to be your fun watch. Swatch didn't just sell watches, they sold vibes. Each watch was treated like a canvas, a wearable piece of pop art. They collaborated with designers, artists, even graffiti legends. Every new release felt like a drop. And the ads? Playful, colorful, irreverent. They didn't talk about accuracy or durability. They sold attitude. Swatch watches weren't just gender neutral, they were culture neutral. Anyone could wear one, everyone wanted to. They cost around $30. Cheap enough to collect, cool enough to wear anywhere. Kids wanted them, teenagers wanted them. Adults wore them on both wrists. Swatch made watches feel young again. And slowly, the buzz started building. Fashion magazines picked up the trend. Celebrities began wearing them on runways and films and on TV. Collectors started forming Swatch clubs. The watch was no longer just functional. It was fun. Then came the pop culture explosion. Swatch watches were everywhere. They were in music videos. They were part of MTV culture. They became the unofficial wristwear of the 80s. Swatch opened flagship stores in major cities. They released limited editions with world-famous artists like Keith Haring and Kiki Picasso, and the public lost it. People camped outside stores. Stores sold out in hours. In 1984, Swatch sold 1 million watches. By 1987, over 30 million, all during a time when watches were supposedly dying. It wasn't just that Swatch was popular, it was how it went viral. It made watches collectible. It made time fashionable. It made wristwear cool again. This was the tipping point. Swatch went from trendy brand to global phenomenon. Swatch didn't just dominate Europe or the US, it exploded everywhere. Asia, South America, Africa, kids in Tokyo, teens in Sao Paulo, students in London, all wearing Swatches. The brand became a language of its own, a form of self-expression, and the company kept innovating. The Swatch Pop with a detachable face, the Swatch Scuba, the Swatch Chrono. Each variation added to the collector mania. In Switzerland, they built Swatch megastores. In the US, malls featured Swatch corners. The brand even launched a Swatch car, worked with fashion houses, and started its own music festivals. It was more than a watch. It was a lifestyle. And for a few glorious years, it felt like everyone was part of it. So what's the legacy of the Swatch watch? Let's start here. It saved the Swiss watch industry. Before Swatch, Swiss watches were considered outdated. Too traditional, too expensive. After Swatch, they were cool again, desirable, relevant. Swatch brought back volume, revenue, and cultural status. They proved a watch could be artistic, mass-produced, affordable, and aspirational sound familiar. Think of the Apple Watch, or Casio's modern resurgence, or collabs with fashion brands today. That all traces back to Swatch. It pioneered limited drops before sneakers did. It made fashion fun before streetwear took over. And it turned a struggling industry into a cultural powerhouse. Today, Swatch is still around. They've had ups and downs. But their collaborations continue. They recently launched a hit crossover with Omega, and yes, collectors still go wild for vintage 80s Swatches. Because the brand stood for something timeless. Time doesn't have to be serious. It can be colorful, personal, playful. Swatch didn't just tell time, it made time fun. So the next time you check your watch, ask yourself, are you telling time or are you making a statement? That's what Swatch did. It brought art, fashion, and joy to the wrist. And in doing so, saved a legacy. Thanks for watching What Made It Viral. Next episode, we're diving into a childhood favorite, the toy that turned colorful beads into a global DIY sensation. Yup, we're talking perler beads. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell us, what iconic trend should we cover next? See you in the next one.